practical advice. We can all tell our stories. Fingers being burnt here and there. My uncle giving me, you know what I'm talking about. Pictures of properties that do not exist. And in this day and age of photoshopping, brilliant schemes and stories are told us. How do you do it? Do you just walk into any property developer's office and say, I want something to buy? If you have any legal document, what are the things you need to look at? The small prints? Are there things hidden in the contracts? Sometimes you think that you have a freehold, a leasehold, whatever, the years that are assigned to them and the rest of it. You need somebody who has the experience, the eye, and who can pay attention to the detail to advise you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm bringing you one person who is very active in the Ghanaian community. He has 26 years of legal practice experience. He qualified as a barrister in 1992 and was called to the Ghana Bar in 1993. He continues to be a member of good standing, so you can trust whatever he tells you. He is a solicitor to the Supreme Court of England and Wales. Bennard Owusu, in the community we call him Uncle Ben. He is a private property investor and manages a $3 million portfolio of mixed properties in Ghana and the UK. Ladies and gentlemen, Bennard Owusu.
Good afternoon. I've seen a few familiar faces here. I'm quite excited that a lot of you are interested in what the community is doing business-wise. As you've been told, my name is Bennard Owusu. So what I'm going to do this afternoon is to give you a practical experience with my knowledge in law and also as an investor. I invest in properties in Ghana. I do luxurious high-end properties and also middle-level properties. So what I do is that I buy and it's let out. Some in East Legon, Labone, Cantonment, and Airport. So what I'm going to talk about is the experience that I've acquired over the years, either as an investor or as a lawyer. The first thing I want us to look at is, I know it's not all of you who are Ghanaians. So if you're not a Ghanaian, are you still allowed to acquire properties in Ghana? And our supreme law in Ghana is a constitution. And as the constitution says, if you're a foreigner, which means that you're not a Ghanaian, I'm not saying people who hold dual nationality, because if you hold dual Ghanaian and British nationality or any other nationality, you are still a Ghanaian by the definition in the constitution. So if you're not a Ghanaian, you cannot acquire a freehold interest in Ghana. You can buy a leasehold, but the maximum number of years you can acquire is 50 years if you're not a Ghanaian. I just want to set these markers before I move on to the practical advice. The other thing that I also want you to know is that if you're not a Ghanaian, again, you cannot acquire a freehold interest in what we call a customary law tenure, or as the constitution refers to, freehold interest in stew lands. Stew lands, as some of you will know, the name depicts as properties or land owned by the chiefs. So in Ashanti, we say kin. I think there's only one kin in Ghana, but in other areas, we say chiefs. So this will be customary freeholds. Again, you're not allowed to acquire. There will be family or customary law freehold, which will be owned by a family elder, a community elder, and again, that is what we call a customary law freehold. If you're not a Ghanaian, you're not allowed to acquire this. Somebody may say, well, I've been duped. Somebody sold a freehold interest to me. The Constitution says that since 1969, if somebody acquired a freehold interest in Ghana, that freehold interest will be converted into a leasehold for 50 years. So that is what you get. You're not going to lose your land completely. Now that we've cleared who can own land in Ghana, the other thing that I want you to consider when purchasing property is land registration. This particular area is fraught with difficulties. I was just telling a friend a few minutes ago that I acquired a land in East Legon about 20 years ago. It was only last week that it's gotten to the last end of registration. Now, I raise these things because of what we've got here today. We've got developers who have already sourced land, and most of them would have registered their land, and that is the security you have buying through a developer. I'll come to that in a bit. So there are various laws in Ghana. The first one is the Stamp Duty Act, the Land Registry Act, and also the Land Title Registration. It's always important that you know what you're doing. I know it's not all of you who are going to purchase developed property. Some of you might buy service plots, and maybe you might have to go through registration of the property. So I've listed on the slide the various steps that you need to go through. So the first thing that you need to go through is after acquiring the land, you're expected to go to the Lands Commission with your documents. And then you go through the process. You're given a yellow card, which is a small card, but it's very, very important, which will have the reference number for the processes. Now, the last document that you will have once the process is completed, and this could take years. Mine is taking 15 years. 15 years. And it's literally just going through the last stage, which is a broad document, slightly bigger than your A4 sheet with an embossment on it, clearly saying that it's a land title certificate, and this shows that you now own that land. Most of you will buy land through the usual negotiation processes, and you'll be given a document called an indenture. I will explain exactly what you should look for once you're going through the indenture process, or the contract, as some of you will say. First of all, the Supreme Court case, which is 2016, which clearly says that any transaction on land or transfer of interest in land under our conveyancing decree, I think it's Decree 1973, says that it must be in writing. So if somebody calls you and says, I've got a piece of land, or I'm selling a house, and you're doing that by email, which is fine, but then before you part with money, you must make sure that the contract is reduced to writing. The next thing that I also want you to consider is, if you look at the Conveyancing Act, it says, and it confirms again, that whatever you have as required under the evidence decree, whatever agreement, negotiation, contract, whatever you want to call it, it must be in writing. If you get a reputable developer, your land is litigation free. Also, you get quality development. I know a few of the developers. Some of them are friends. I know Dev Traco Plus because I buy from them. Imperial Homes. I know Francis. I know Frank. Those that I know here are reputable developers. And my word to you is that before you buy from a developer, make sure that you're buying from a reputable developer. Because what they guarantee is, they guarantee you quality. And this is where I say to you that before you even part with your money, it's better to either go and see some of their developments, because if they've got a track record of having developed quality units, it's very likely that one, they are good business, 2, that they are in for the long haul, and 3, there's a guarantee that you will get the same quality or even better quality than what you're looking at. If you take immediate action, you're likely to get a reduced, cheaper, developed property. But the responsibility is yours. Lawyers, we have something we call caveat emptor. The buyer must beware. Thank you very much.